So now we're going to walk through your Aero degree template and specifically paying attention to what you're going to register for your first semester. So remember, you saved this on your computer. So we're going to open it up and we're going to take a look at it. So this is your 4-year Aero degree template. And these are all the courses you're going to take to fulfill to get your Aero engineering degree after your time at RPI. So before we zoom in and we focus on the classes for your first year, I'd like to talk about a couple of things. First of all, if you look at the bottom, there's a whole bunch of footnotes. And the main department, that's Mechanical, Aerospace, and Nuclear Engineering, of which Aero is a part, they get a little crazy with the footnotes. So there's quite a few of them, and they take up quite a chunk of space on this piece of paper here. So take a look at those. They'll clarify some things for you, and you know where they are. You're just going to scroll down, and each of the footnotes is numbered in the appropriate semester, and you can see additional information about your Aero degree template. The other thing I want to bring your attention to is this is a really rigid looking document, right? It's very rectilinear and it looks super rigid, but actually there's way more flexibility in your schedule than you would guess by looking at this template. In fact, we swap classes from different semesters all the time based on a number of factors. So I don't want you to feel like you can only take the courses in the semester that were listed, because that's just not how we roll. So there's plenty of flexibility there. I just want to let you know that. And in fact, we're going to be probably pulling some stuff in from the second semester for a lot of you guys. So let's move on and zoom in to your first semester, and we'll start talking about your first semester classes. So now we've zoomed in and we're looking at your first semester specifically. So the first couple of semesters, all engineering students take what we call a core engineering courses. And those are math for sure, science for sure, and also some basic level engineering courses. So let's go through. We always take math and science in your first couple of semesters. So the first math class you're going to take is Calculus 1. Now what we're talking about right now is for a student who really doesn't have any AP credits, right? So we're looking at these courses as if you don't have credit for Calc 1, Physics 1. Now, if you do not, the first semester, that's real easy. You're going to take Math 1010, which is Calc 1. If you don't have credit for Physics 1, you're going to take Physics 1100, which is Physics 1. In addition to that, for the first couple of semesters, we have you take what's called a Haas class. Now that's humanities, arts, and social science. Now, we're going to go into Haas requirements in great detail in a subsequent video. You're going to scroll down when you get back to your guide and see all about the Haas requirements. But the one thing I want to bring your attention to is in this first couple of semesters, we'd like you to take what's called a Haas inquiry course. And those are designated by the prefix IHSS. They're all 1,000 level classes. They are set up specifically for first year students. They're called inquiry classes. They're small group classes. You'll have 20 people or less in your class. A lot of them will be discussion based, and they are specifically for first year students. They cover a whole range of topics. And when you get to the Haas video, they're going to talk about those classes in more detail. So in any case, you're going to take a Haas class your first semester. Then we also have you take a 1-credit engineering class. So in this first semester, you have the choice of taking Engineering 1200, which is Engineering Graphics and CAD, which is required for your major. If for some reason Engineering Graphics and CAD, Engineering 1200 is closed, we can go down to this other 1-credit class in the fall semester of your sophomore year, Engineering 1300, which is Engineering Processes. And you could easily substitute that for Engineering Graphics and CAD. If that's closed or it doesn't work for your schedule, either one is fine. And just because we have processes in that first semester sophomore year, it is not any harder than CAD. In fact, most students would tell you it's probably a much easier class. So either one is fine in that first semester. Now, the last class we're going to talk about is this Engineering 1100 class, which is Introduction to Engineering Analysis. And because we refer to everything by their acronym at RPI, we'll refer to that as IEA from here on in. So IEA is a class that's really the physics of engineering. Specifically, it's also referred to in other schools as statics, which is the physics of things that don't move. Later on, you'll take a class called engineering dynamics, which is the physics of things that do move because they're dynamic. So back to IEA. Now, we have found that students who do not have a solid grounding in Physics 1 can struggle with IEA. And if you feel like you don't have a good background in physics, maybe you struggled a bit with physics in high school, then I'm going to suggest that you put off IEA until that second semester. Now, why do I say that? We want you to do well this first semester. We don't want you to struggle. And our goal in the hub is that you leave this first semester at RPI feeling good about what you've done and feeling like I've got this in terms of academics. So if you don't feel good about your background in physics, if you don't feel really strongly that you're a physics whiz, then you might want to put off IEA to that second semester. So then what are we going to substitute IEA for? Well, this is where that flexibility comes in, right? We're going to pull something from that second semester, and typically what we're going to pull in is we're going to pull in Chemistry 1. Now, you're saying to me, why the heck would I want to take 2 science classes in the same semester? That would have me taking calculus, physics, and chemistry, which doesn't sound like a whole lot of fun, but trust me, if you don't have a strong background in physics, IEA is not going to be fun for you, and I want you to do well in that class. So I think it's a better thing to do 2 science classes in that first semester, and then we're going to put off IEA into that second semester. So in that case, your first semester is going to look like Calc 1, Physics 1, Chemistry 1, and then we're going to do a Haas class, possibly an inquiry class, and then we're going to do a 1-credit engineering class, which would be that engineering graphics and CAD or engineering processes. So that's what that first semester would look like if you don't have a great background in physics and you don't have any other AP classes. So what would it look like if you do bring in AP classes? And that's super common, so it happens all the time. And in that case, we're going to do even more swapping from that first semester. So it's very common to come in with Calculus 1, right? So say you have credit for Calculus 1. We're going to cross that out, and then we're going to just simply pull in from that second semester Calculus 2. Now, if you have also credit for Calculus 2, we're going to pull a math class up from that sophomore year, but let's you and I talk about that, and I can recommend which class you're going to pull in. So if you just simply have credit for Calc 1, we're just going to, boom, move Calculus 2 over to that first semester, and then it will look exactly the same as we just talked about, but with Calc 2 instead of Calc 1. Now, if you got credit for Physics 1, you're definitely going to want to take IEA because you've got a strong background in physics. So we're going to have you take IEA that first semester. And then actually your first tendency would probably be to pull in Physics 2. Now, I'm going to recommend against that only because Physics 2 is a bit of a bear of a class here at RPI, and I think that's a tough slog your first semester. It's not out of the question, but for most students, I would actually recommend pulling in Chemistry 1 instead. Now, if you really feel strongly about wanting to take Physics 2, I'm totally fine with that. I just want you to know that when you talk to upperclassmen at RPI and you say you're taking Physics 2 the first semester, they're going to look at you like you're crazy. So you have that option of doing Chem 1, which I would probably tend to recommend over Physics 2, but you can absolutely do Physics 2 instead. So in that case, if you had credit for Calculus 1 and Physics 1, then you'd be looking at taking Calc 2, either Chem 1 or Physics 2. You'd be taking that IEA, your 1-credit engineering class, and your Haas class. And if you have credit for other things, such as a Haas class, we can certainly talk about that, but you can still totally take one of those Haas inquiry classes because that's going to be a requirement whether you have AP credits or not. So you'll still be able to take that IHSS 1000 level class without any problem. So that's what your first semester will look like. Before we get out of this, I just wanted to say one more thing about the 1-credit classes. So you'll see there's a 1-credit class in your spring semester called Fundamentals of Flight. Now you're thinking, hey, I'm an aero student. I want to take Fundamentals of Flight. That sounds really cool. Why can't I take that instead of CAD or processes? I would love to have you do that because it is an awesome class for aero students, but that class is only offered in the spring. So we're definitely going to plan on taking that in the spring. When you and I sit down in the fall to plan your spring semester, we're totally going to we're going to work that into your spring semester. But I just want to let you know it's not an option for you for fall. So that's what we've got. We've got what your first semester would look like without AP credits, with AP credits, not feeling great about physics, feeling great about physics. So those are your options. Now, that's all generic, right? If you have any questions or you have a boatload of AP credits, let's talk. I'm here all summer. My information, contact information appears multiple places in this guide, so just reach out if you're confused about any of this and what classes you want to pull up if you've got substantial amounts of AP credits, because we definitely should talk about that. So continue on with your guide. And again, please feel free to reach out anytime over the summer with questions about any of this scheduling.